What is up, YouTube? We have our second last match for the first round here and ready to go. And it is going to be between Gangster Dingo, aka ManDinGo, aka the man who came second place last tournament, versus Iamsorry, who I am sorry, but I don't know his AKAs. He will be Protoss in the middle position versus ManDinGo's Zerg here. The scary matchup because I'm afraid that they're all going to go 2 hours now. We are going to see a double gateway here, so a super standard open here for the Protoss. Gonna go for that 4-gate open. Going to try to apply a lot of pressure from the get-go here. And he is actually going to scout right away here his opponent. So he is able to do it's going to be able to apply a lot of pressure right away. ManDinGo knows this and is going to throw down his sunken colonies ASAP here. They are going to be up before the first zealots get here. Probe out front, looking like he's going to possibly sort of, with all these cannons here, he's actually planning on making a lot of zealots here. So he is going to try to break this right away. First 2 zealots in here are going to try to run by, but these zerglings are going to plug up that hole and prevent that. First zealot is going to go down, and the second zealot is soon to follow. I don't think he's going to be able to keep that alive, but he does kind of want to keep these zerglings alive. Okay, no, he does. He does not care. He's going to have them run by, and they are actually going to locate Iamsorry right away too. Maybe he saw the path that these units went. Again, going to try to get the run by, but these zerglings are in hold position, going to try to prevent that and let these sunkens get as much shots off as they can. 3 of them go down. 1 is actually going to get by here. Zerglings, meanwhile, getting a couple of kills here. At least I'd say two probes there, if not more. Didn't exactly see that it was worth paying attention to that. Good multi-prong, or good multi-aggression here. Looks like that zealot did get taken out as well from the Zerglings. So ManDinGo has invested in quite a bit. Zerglings' drone count isn't as high as he could potentially, or it could potentially be, but he is going to be able to hold on without taking basically any damage here. Another Zergling is going to go by and see exactly what's going to go on. Is going to get that into the blue base, or at least try to. Oh, guys, just fucking with each other there. Zergling is going to get by. The Zealot's continuing to try to pressure this front here, but he has lost so many with trying to do those run-bys that it's just not going to be enough here. And only going to take out 1 sunken. Not the best trade as you would, as you're hoping for here. Zergling continuing to run around, checking out those Nexus timings and those gas timings, going to be able to give him a good idea of exactly how to react here. We do have his 1 single gas here for the Zerg player. And, yeah, going to continue to just try to choke up while slowly transitioning. We got the triple Nexus and the triple gas here, with the Cybernetics core being thrown down. So I imagine that he's going to try to get some robotics facilities out here and maybe hover in some zealot drops here, but ManDinGo is going to have a lot of time here to just build up and get his macro going. We do have the Hydralisk then down there. Zealots again coming on here to try to apply some pressure to the Zerg, make sure that the Zerg isn't slacking on that defense, but again, it is not going to be successful whatsoever. The Zerglings and Sunkens are going to make quick work of that and push that pressure back here. So nicely done by ManDinGo, keeping himself alive. Overlord going to come in here as well and get even more scouting information off. Going to see that there's 6 gas and a double Nexus here. So again, not really going to have to worry about too much for a little while here. I imagine we're going to see a robotics facility be thrown down here. He does have the gas, but not quite the minerals yet. Going to throw that cannon up to make sure that Overlord cannot just stay there. A shield battery, and there we go with a robotics facility. He could potentially throw down 2 more of those. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. choosing not to, or opting not to do that quite yet. Hydras are now being produced. The first wave of Hydras are going to be out here to pick off any drops. The Spire is also going to go down here, so pretty good timings here for ManDinGo, playing pretty solid. Citadel of Adun being pushed out here. We have to wait for the Protoss to see what the Protoss strategy is going to be to try to break this Zerg, because right now it is in his court to get something done. The Zerg has done everything right as of right now, and is putting himself in a great position. Going to get that Queen's Nest down as well. And yeah, the Zerg is just going to continue to macro up here. Not going to have to worry about too much. He is investing a lot into this frontal hatchery, not quite building any sunkens behind yet, so not over committing quite yet to the sunken defense here. Only 2 robotics facilities up here at the front. He definitely could have afforded more with all the gas that he does have, due to the robotic support bay and the first Stargate nearly completing. I don't see any Templar of Archives quite yet. Is going for that Zealot speed here, so it looks like he may be going for a Reaver break at the front, but as I say that, he is loading up 2 shuttles. I imagine that the double shuttle is going to be used to bring in 8 Zealots into the Zerg base to see what it can get done. Good split here with the Hydralisk from our Zerg player. Going to build a couple of creep colonies outside of here. I imagine those are going to be spores to stop this first quick drop. Another robotics now being thrown up here. First shuttle is coming in from the back. I wonder where that second shuttle is. But yeah, it is not going to be successful, and he is going to lose that. Only 2 Zealots being dropped there and not going to get any damage done. So another deflection here from our Zerg player, doing a nice job here, building another kind of random spore out here just to make sure no drops can sneak in undetected and undeterred. We've got 4 robotics facilities out here now, kind of building, or kind of rallying up these Corsairs right here. He does have, there's a lot of Overlords on the map that are just waiting to be picked off here, and he's going to pick off a couple now. Building pylons up here, he is a little bit worried about some kind of Guardian or drop play coming from the top here, which is quick access to the main, so he is a little bit worried about that. And yeah, these first Reavers are going to start punching away at these sunken colonies. ManDinGo up to 60 drones now, so it's really going to be up to him. No storm drop in sight. Storm only halfway done here. Not many more additional gateways or anything, so still kind of unclear what Iamsorry is going for here, but he is still doing a pretty good job, having a 40 supply lead, and he himself hasn't taken any damage, though his start didn't quite do as much damage as you want. When you open up 4 gate, you really do want to get more damage than what he did get done here. Corsairs are being a little bit lazy here. I think they're just waiting there in case some mutas come out to try to take these out, but not going to happen, I don't believe. Mutas are popping out now, but I think they're just going to be for Guardians. I believe he is going to wait for that Greater Spire, and then Dingo is going to go for a pretty solid counter push here. More Reavers continuing to be built and rallied out. Okay, here we do. We have the mutas come out here, but there isn't a great number of Corsairs here. The Scourge are also going to help push that back here, so mutas actually are going to be quite aggressively defensive here and pick off 3 or 4 Reavers there. Also going to be able to push those Corsairs back. Going to decide against going and trying to kill off these cannons. 1 Corsair does get out of position and is going to be taken out. A couple of High Templars also being rallied to this choke area. Probably going to be loaded up into a dropship. No, he's going to choose to put a Reaver in the dropship, not any High Templars, but this dropship is going to go right over these Overlords that Corsair did ignore, and it is definitely going to be spotted and prepared for by our Zerg player. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm actually not reacting quite yet here, so this drop is actually going to be able to get in here. Just because your Overlord spots it doesn't necessarily mean that you yourself have spotted it, and that is going to be a big hit. Half of the drones are going to, actually maybe not half, he did end up pulling a lot of the drones, so I didn't quite see the drone count, but maybe not that many got taken out there. So good pull from Dingo here, and now those Corsairs are going to go up there and clear that out. Going to be a little bit harder to chase down these Overlords now that they have speed. Scourge is going to take that out and prevent that from happening. These High Templars are going to move forward with the Reavers. Going to be a little bit vulnerable to the Guardians, or a little bit to the Mutas that are now in the Guardians. Excuse-moi there. Continuing to mass up Sunkens behind these frontal ones. Going to keep some Guardians at home to help defend versus the drops. They're going to send out 4 out to his choke just to help deter these Reavers from doing too much damage. More and more robotics facilities are being thrown down at the front, and it looks like he's going to go. The plan is now clear. He is going to go mass Reaver Corsair here. Now, High Templars are also going to be added to this mix here. Scourge is again going to pick off another Corsair here. But yeah, this Corsair is also going to be able to take out a lot of these Guardians, but the Guardians are taking out these Reavers. These Zealots are going to come in here and start doing a lot of pressure now that there isn't a ton of Sunkens here. So this is actually doing a pretty good job here. No units are reinforcing yet. That choke is possibly going to fall down. Okay, maybe not. Now that the Hydras are reinforcement, the Reavers and High Templars are going to retreat back to the choke area. Neither player wanting to overcommit to anything there. Smart play by both of them. Dingo going to take this opportunity to rebuild some of his sunken colonies. Does always have to worry about the drop defense, because one drop can just fuck up your whole day as a Zerg player. Don't want that to happen. Your second Spire going down to get all of his air upgrades going, but that is a lot of Corsairs. He is going to have to get some Devourers in order to counter all of these Corsairs. But I do like this. I do like this idea by Iamsorry. The Mass Reaver Corsair is a pretty good combination. Reavers, it's like the Siege Tank Valkyrie kind of idea, but they have High Templars to also back you up. And this, yeah, it's gonna be pretty nice, I think, from our Protoss player here. Going to be not the easiest thing to counter. He's gonna possibly have to use some plagues here to get these Reavers low enough to be able to pick off, or these Corsairs. All these units do like to pile up. So plagues will be good here. Going to take out all of these Guardians here. More Mutas are being built, and they are going to be turned into Guardians. So he's continuing just to build Guardians. I don't see any Devourers yet quite being built here. These Corsairs are having a heyday on these few Guardians that are out here. Carriers continuing to push forward. High Templar staying right behind. Reavers continuously being built here, and Corsairs continuously being built here. So a very nice army here by our Protoss. Mute is going to come in here to try to pick off some of these High Templars, but the choke is now officially down, so he needs to keep his Corsairs in here and keep these storms by. These Reavers are now AFK, and lots of storm getting thrown down here. Going to take out those Guardians fairly nicely, but at the price of all of his Reavers here. So the Zerg is going to hold on for another day, but he needs to keep these, Protoss needs to keep these High Templars alive. He doesn't want these to all die here. And it looks like he may just not control them properly. A lot of them do have a lot of supply. One good storm goes off, 2, 3 storms. We do see the Devourers out now. Going to storm down all those Hydras here, and even throw a storm onto those Devourers. More Corsairs here to reinforce. Gonna need a lot of Corsairs to take out these Devourers. Devourers are pretty good anti-air. They don't do stack damage like the Corsairs do, and the Corsairs do have 3 upgrades on them. Sending in some probes as he realized he may have a little bit too many. 93 probes is a lot here. And yeah, it's going to continue. He's going to get that Corsair upgrade here. You see the Corsairs fighting these Devourers, but with the Storm, they actually may be successful. Storm just ripped apart any of the Zerg units here. And the next rally of Reavers are coming down. A lot of a lot of Reavers here, a lot of robotic support bays. Robotics facilities are here producing Reavers one at a time. lurkers are coming in. The Protoss has penetrated the choke, so this is worrisome for the Zerg. The Zerg has not taken much economical damage, but he is up against a pretty difficult mix of units here. A nice combination here for the Protoss player. Just going to slowly, he does have a probe here, so he does, I think, probably want to build some cannons here as well. He is a little bit slowed down here. No observatory. These Reavers are stopping these Reavers from going any farther. The Consume is starting with the Defilers. He is beginning to upgrade Plague as well, which is going to be very helpful and probably necessary to counter what is going on here. You don't want the Protoss this far in your base. I don't see... Okay, observers are being... Now, he is building 4 observers right now. You can see that in the production tab. He must have one. He does have one in his army here, so he is going to have Reavers now, or observers now, to take out those lurkers with his Reavers. Gonna have a chance to do a nice big surround push in here, but it may be too little too late. Some of these Reavers are very dumb here, going past these lurkers here. Gonna get taken out. A surround attack is going to come in here a little bit from the Zerg player, but not the most well orchestrated attack there. And the Protoss is continuing to push forward with his Reaver Corsair our army. What is he going to do? What is ManDinGo going to do to counter this? Another storm going down. He needs to storm these Devours. Actually, maybe he doesn't. He does anyway, though. A Plague is going to go down, weaken up all these units, and it looks like he is going to get pushed back here, finally. His macro did fall just a little bit there, trying to micro all the way, and his supply did get a little low there. You don't want to overbuild Corsairs or Reavers. You want to have it all nicely evened out. Does have enough gateways here to get some Dragoon backup, and we see that disruption web going down very nicely here. Going to prevent these Hydras from attacking and some of these Dragoons from attacking. Looks like the Zerg is going to take this opportunity to try to break out. May not have enough hatcheries to continue this or to able to break this Protoss choke here. Disruption web being used up against him. The more consumes being done there. I just heard it. I'm going to try to throw down those Plagues on the Reavers, and he does so. 2 more consumes going to get locked and loaded there. So a nice back and forth, a good hold from the Zerg, and then a good counter hold from the Protoss. More Plagues going to be thrown down here, going to make all of his units so weak here. The Zerg does need to rebuild his choke, I think, but maybe going to just save that time and get more hatcheries, as he does need more production as well. Hasn't taken any economical damage, so you can see his bank is nice and big. He does have the ability to mask anything that he wants for the most part, but what units does he need to counter this other than those Plagues and just Zergling Hydras? Is it going to be enough to counter the Reaver Corsair combination? The one good thing about the Protoss defending against a Plague is they do have shields, so it's going to be uninfected. They're still always going to have at least half their health here, and in some cases a little bit less than half, I guess. But it is still going to be able to push out a lot of damage here. Another Plague going to go down on all these Reavers. There is a Lurker here that is going to get taken out before it can burrow. Continuing to rally in some fresh Reavers here. And yeah, just going to only just a couple of Dragoons here just to accompany all of these units. He doesn't have any more High Templars being built, as he is opting to transition into those Dragoons here. Disruption web and Plague all over the place. Pretty cool use of both of those spells here that you don't always see all that often, but with these high level players it is going to be important. The Zerg doing a good job holding on. A couple more Guardians going to come in here, not accompanied by any Devourers, and they are just going to be ripped apart by these very red Corsairs. Reavers continuing to push into these Lurkers. A couple of Overlords going to come in here. Usually they're accompanied with some skirts to try to pick off these Observers just to hold back this Protoss army, but not the case there. A lot of action going on here. The Devourers are going to come in here, probably going to clean up those very red Corsairs. But the Devourers can't kill the ground. They need to be accompanied with the Guardian. So even if they do take out all of Corsairs, they're still going to have to deal with all of these Reavers that are continually piling in. He is, I think, inching a little bit closer, sending that creep farther and farther back into his base. Continuing to do very nice plagues here, keeping those Defilers alive. Those Corsairs do fall, sending in the Zergling Hydra army to take out these Reavers. The Reavers are being produced non-stop with some Dragoons. Continuing to build more gateways at home in the middle, or not at home, more in the middle here, so they can reinforce nice and quickly here. I wouldn't mind seeing a drop. He doesn't have the most drop defense, and he may not be ready for it since he has not gone for it. One drop could be devastating to ManDinGo, despite having 11,000 minerals and 1,300 or 13,000 gas, 1,300 gas, and yeah, I hope that I said that right. Fuck it, either way. Another plague going to be put down here on the Reavers, and we do have a. Let's get the first one to make a mistake on the combination of units that they get. I think is going to fall because so far ManDinGo has had just enough to continually push this back, but it's going to be harder and harder to keep that up. He is trying to get more hatcheries down as he feels like he just can't quite max out quick enough. You want to be able to pretty much max in one full. You want to be able to be constantly maxed, basically. So if you have enough hatcheries to have enough larvae to keep yourself maxed, that is the ideal dream for the Zerg, especially with an economy this big. Protoss continuing to take out everything that's in its path here. A couple of Guardians, again, not accompanied by the Devourers. A Guardian Devourer army probably is what you want against this. Like 24 Guardians and then all the rest Devourers. Since there is no High Templars, I feel like that would be your best bet as of right now, but continuing to just try to get the plagued units and then take them out with just the Hydra. Zergling isn't the worst idea, but also may not be this successful with this many Reavers and these upgrades. Everything is dying just very quickly here. The splash damage of the Reavers is absolutely devastating. It has taken out another hatchery, so the Dingo, despite massing non-stop and his economy staying the same, he is getting lower and lower in supply, just not having enough production facilities to keep up this defense. Oh, there is a couple Guardians here picking up some of these reinforcements and slowly pushing away at this choke here, but now that both me and Iamsorry see that, he is going to go ahead and send his Corsairs back to take that out. Meanwhile, the Mutas are going to be over here trying to pick off as many Reavers as he can. Looks like he's just going for this lower half since the Lurkers and Spore Colonies are pushing back the Observers. Still a good idea. Going to now put down a probe here and a pylon. Going to start building cannons here, which is just a very good idea. Just any more firepower and protection you can have to these main core units of Corsair Reaver is going to be absolutely helpful for him to break this third player. And yeah, it looks like he's being pretty successful. The Reavers are just blowing away all of these Hydras, despite basically everything being plagued. Very few green units here, and once these cannons get up, and he makes the choke out of his own area. Lurker Swarm now being used, but again, that doesn't protect you against Reavers. Zergling's trying to get in here, doing everything he can to prevent this from happening. We're even going to see an ensnare go down by this queen, going to slow these very slow Reavers down even more. Mutant's just getting devastated in his supply. He can't quite get over 150, 160 supply here, just despite his non-stop production. Things are dying quicker than he can reproduce them. He needs to keep everything slow and steady, though. He has basically taken out half of, or at least I'd say a third of ManDinGo's base is being occupied by Protoss units. Still not out of it yet, but not looking good. Not the most comfortable position you do want as a Zerg player. And it's weird not dying to storm drops, just dying to a mass Reaver Corsair frontal attack. I do like it. Very nicely done by our Protoss player here. He has basically fully upgraded both of his ground and air army, just waiting for the Protoss plating and the Protoss armor, just missing one upgrade on each of them. But he is basically fully upgraded, and it does not look like ManDinGo is going to be able to hold on, building more Devourers and Guardians up in his base, but these Reavers are inching closer and closer to that main, taking out now the Hydralisk Den. He's taken out the Spire as well. All of the buildings that are used to make the units are now being taken out. I don't know what he even has left. I don't see a Spire anywhere else here. So he's not even going to be able to build units, and that actually might be GG right here. He's trying to do one last push with that Guardian Devourer army here, doing what it can versus these Corsairs, but the Reavers are now in the range of that main, and that main is going to get lower and lower, going to possibly fall here. Guardian's doing what it can to take it out. The drones are still alive. He's opted not to keep that alive, and it was one Scarab shot away from dying. Protoss is going to have to remake that army before the Zerg can remake all of its production facilities. We do see... No, we don't see... We see a Spire being thrown down. I don't know where that Hydralisk Den is. He must not have a Hydralisk Den. Just rebuilding that Spire right now. I don't even see a spawning pool either. So he's going to have to try to just mass mutas right now, as he doesn't have anything else. Mass mutas, Defiler. There must be a spawning pool somewhere. Okay, there is a spawning pool back here. It does have a spawning pool. I don't see a Hydralisk Den over there. In rebuilding Evil Chamber, going to do what it can to start rebuilding some of these sunken colonies. He is massing up drones right now to rebuild some of the static defense. These Dragoons are going to run in here and sacrifice themselves to take that maid out, which is now going to start slowing down ManDinGo's economy. Which, it will not be fun in this kind of situation. The Protoss just rebuilding that army, going to have a probe in here to even start rebuilding those cannons. And it may just be enough. Not quite the anti-air that he wants versus the Guardians, but the Corsair reinforcements are arriving, and that should be able to take these Guardians and mutas out. Still no Hydralisk Den that I can see, at least. I could be missing it, but I don't see a Hydralisk Den here. So he's not going to have too much anti-air once these Corsairs do start picking up, other than these spores. Pretty good job trying to rebuild here, but again, he's going to have to just deal with this Reaver Dragoon army that's just getting closer and closer to just taking out all of his hatcheries and therefore all of his production. Only being able to build Lings, and Lings aren't going to be enough. A nice plague on those Corsairs here. Going to wait for that to have full effect before he sends in his mutas. Hydralisk Den now being produced, maybe just realizing that now that he does not have one and may need one. And then Snare being thrown down. Mutas are just going to get shredded by this number of Corsair, despite the spore presence. And 114 supply to 200 supply of Protoss army in your base. It looks like Iamsorry is going to take out ManDinGo in this first game here. And get himself a nice PvZ win in a 30-minute time here. GG is going to be called. Dingo is going to go down 0-1 versus Iamsorry. A nice try here, but just not quite the production and the proper unit combination to hold on to that. GG, go into game number 2. Jumping into it, game 2, we got Dingo again as Zerg versus Iamsorry Protoss again. Very close positions here. This could be good for the Zerg if it does get into a later game, but it could also be good for the Protoss if he is going to go for some robotics in his base. And the drop is going to be super close. He's going to be able to constantly drop the Zerg player if he does so choose to go that route this time around. Basically went for one drop last game with just some Zealots. Oh no, and the Reaper. He went for at least 2 drops that I caught. And both of them, well, one of them didn't do too bad. One of them really wasn't meant to do damage, but he did lose the shuttle. And it kind of stopped any further harassment from happening. So we will just speed this up a little bit to get going on what these build orders are going to be. It looks like it's going to be a Nexus first from our Zerg, or from our Protoss player, and just the standard hatch at choke and spawning pool. The first probe is going to go out in the middle. We do see the forge here as well. So he is going to go for that standard Nexus first build right into the gas. Nice build order for sure from Iamsorry, and I think it's going to work out nicely. I don't know if that Overlord the Overlord must have scouted that, uh, and they actually are going to scout each other, so they are going to know the positioning here, and we're going to have to see how this goes. He did see that Super Nexus first, so he's not going to overproduce Sunkens at the front. These Zerglings are going to run in and see the bad news of the cannons being already established here. Cybernetics core already being built here, so it's going to be some real fast Reaver drops from our Protoss player, or at least really early drops. Not certain that it is going to be just Reaver. It could be the High Templar drops as well. We'll see if what he is going to build here. Overlord is going to come down here and scout what's going on. Going to be able to see that he is up against a quick Nexus, a quick gas, and the Cybernetics core. Going to respond by throwing down a Geyser to try to get, or an Extractor to try to get some Hydralisk out to deflect this at the very minimum. Did throw down a second creep colony here, and we do see the first robotic facility, the first Stargate. Going to opt to get a Stargate instead of the Citadel of a Dune. So this must be probably a similar idea to that last build of Reaver Chorus Air, instead of going and focusing his time on the High Templar drops that Dingo is pretty good at deflecting. The Overlord is going to see everything that's going on, though, so he is not going to have any excuses of not knowing what he's up against. Just going to have the misfortune of getting Zerg versus Protoss yet again. Hydra's now being thrown down here. Probably going to get that Hydra speed upgrade first, so he can try to pick off those drop ships. But the drop ships are just going to have such an easy path to get to the Zerg player. The Zerg's really going to have to be worried about how quick this is. I don't see robotic support bay being thrown down. There we go. We do see robotic support bay being down. So he's going to be able to get 2 Reavers out right away here. Going to send that Corsair up to try to pick off any stray Overlords. So still only committed to 1 Sunken and 1 creep colony. So ManDinGo, you can see, has a very good drone count here, up to 33 drones, and he's putting himself in a good position to try to hold on to this Zerg versus Protoss. But I am a little bit worried for him, as this build is pretty good. This is the Korean favorite build, or at least was the Korean meta for Protoss for the longest time. They would go Nexus, Forge, Gateway, and then Pylon at the front to get those cannons up. It has just enough usually. Did I miss a drop? Did he throw that? The Zealot could very well have just walked in the front there. I did miss that as I was talking and scrolling around here. I feel like the Zealot just walked in the front, because I think he just built 1 dropship and then these 2 Reavers, and I see that dropship there. So we're going to see the dropship micro, if he's going to just try to go right for the minerals, or if he's going to try to, I guess it wouldn't be really too much of a point of taking out this choke here, as he's only invested 1 sunken colony here at the front. So we are going to see what his plan is here. ManDinGo massing up his Hydralisk here. You have to be worried if you don't get any damage with this. You might be a little vulnerable to that counterattack, like we saw in that last series, Zerg vs Protoss. Reavers are going to just drop right here. Hydra's going to try to get close to them, so they are able to punch away at this dropship as well. But good micro from Iamsorry, going to kill off a couple of Hydralisks. And then he is going to go right into the heart of the Zerg and drop right in front. Going to try to target those drones down. If he is able to click it. No, did not target the drone. Oh, one pretty good blast there. That did kill a few probes there. He definitely had more than 24 drones before that. So I'd say semi-successful drop there. It could have been GG-ish though, because he dropped in a really good spot right where the drones want to run. Um, and yeah, that could have been a GG drop right there, but I still think it was pretty close to a GG drop because these drops are going to be coming in fast and hard, and he just has not invested very much into any defense, just on pure Hydra, really hoping to deflect all of these units. He does have a Spire out. I don't see any mutas on the production chat, just building Hydras and drones here. So, yeah, the Zerg again has got himself in a pretty good position, but he's really going to have to turtle. These couple of Hydras are going to spot this drop and almost take it out. It is going to just escape with 17 HP into this choke area. Going to continue to build shuttles and reavers here. Getting a couple of cannons around his main here. He does only have a single Stargate, so he's not going to have the biggest Corsair count, but he's done a pretty good job keeping them all alive here. And we do see ManDinGo going to try to go on the offensive here. Don't know how well that is going to go against the Reavers here. He has 5 Reavers if he does choose to drop them here. He's actually going to... Okay, they aren't going to get too far away. He's going to be able to drop them, so they are going to be able to fight with these cannons here. And ManDinGo trying to get some counter pressure out here. But it may, or I don't think it's going to be enough. 6 Reavers, 4 Reavers, 5 Reavers, 4 Reavers, 6, 5, 6, 3, a bunch of Reavers here with the Zealots. Going to do his best to target them down there. They are being lifted up and microed, and that was a lot of investment for the Zerg player, which did basically nothing. He just threw away all of those defensive Hydras that he was planning on using, for defense. Just thrown them away right there, hoping that this doesn't go into a late game, as he just does not want to deal with this Corsair Reaver build here from Iamsorry. The Corsairs are going to come up here and see that Dingo has rebuilt quite a few Hydras here. He's still just at 25 drones. He has not even started to rebuild the drones that did die into that drop. Just non-stop Hydra production, and I think the longer he does that without trying to expand his unit combination, the more trouble he's going to be in. He is desperate though to stop these Reavers from getting in here, rebuilding that choke area just in case ManDinGo decides to do what he is doing and attack again. But not going to be the case, I don't think so. I think he's just going to build up these Hydras to stop this from happening. Nearly 100 supply down though is ManDinGo, and the Protoss army is just getting stronger and stronger here. A couple more Stargates here to help out with that Corsair production, and the Gateway production is continuing as well. So Iamsorry looking good here. Nice. I like his PvZ strategy here. It isn't the quickest necessarily strategy to kill, but it seems to be fairly unstoppable, at least to ManDinGo's counters that he's been trying to do. And I feel like ManDinGo's kind of done everything other than that Guardian Devourer that I said would be best to counter this. He kind of tried to do it last game with the plagues were good, but I think he just needed to group up more Guardian the Devourers. This drop now is going to be thrown down here in the top left of the base. The Zerg is going to have to deal with all of these Reavers, and they are pretty close to the main. He needs to burrow that Lurker. You can see the observatory just being built now for the Protoss player, seeing that there is Lurkers up here. All of these Hydralisks are going to come up here to try to prevent this from getting any closer, but not going to be any match for the number of Reavers and Zealots here. Reavers are going to push forward towards this main area, and these drones, half the drones go down. GG is going to be called. Very nicely done by Iamsorry. An improved version of his first build, and it is going to be very successful and going up 2-0 versus ManDinGo and 2 Protoss versus Zerg matches. We'll jump into the next game here. Let's see if Dingo can hold on and do a reverse Denver Nugget sweep here. We will check it out right now. We're getting it. we're getting it right now. And Dingo not going to be happy with this Arvor's R stuff, because he's getting Zerg in a middle position once again. And at least this time he's up versus a Terran. This is definitely a lot easier as a Zerg to beat a Terran than it is a Protoss. But still not easy. It is never easy to win as a Zerg in this fastest map arena. But we shall see. We shall see. Dingo going to continue to go for that hatchery first. It is the safest and it is the best option, especially versus a Terran player. Let's see what Iamsorry is going to go for. So far, just a standard 3 barracks. I imagine he's going to scout with that first SCV and first Marine. All standard stuff, going to go across the middle to check for a mid build. Not going to see that Overlord or anything yet. And he is going to scout the wrong way with his SCV. This Marine should find him in no time. Going to send all of these Marines out. These Zerglings are also going to run out to get their scout on. Looks like they are now going to know exactly where each other are. The Zerglings get picked off here. And the Marine also dies there. So a couple of those scouts giving their life for information to find out where they are. Zerglings are being, a couple of Zerglings staying over here. They're going to want to run by and see exactly what the Terran is doing here, because it is, again, really important to know what your opponent is doing. He is building one factory out in the main. He did get a fairly early factory. Not going to go for this. Yeah, it's going to be a double factory in the mid. So he's going to go for a very strong push here. Zergling is going to get a little bit of a run by here. Is going to find out exactly what's going on. In order for you to do this, though, you do need to get a second gas soon time here. Looks like he is going to start it now. Okay, good stuff here by Iamsorry. So this is going to be up to ManDinGo to try to stop here. He needs to react accordingly. I don't know if he knows that it's a double factory mid build yet. I don't think he's seen it, but oh, we are going to actually see an academy here too. So it looks like he is going to go for some medics as well. Hopefully he doesn't get supply stuck here. Zealot or Zergling getting a very nice scout off is going to see everything that is going on. Going to go for that layer and get himself some Guardians. His engineering bay is going to be there to help let these tanks shoot their maximum range. It can also be floated right into the main to a scout, as well as it probably won't be too much anti-air for the Zerg this early into the game. Going to get that starport up to follow it, and now this Zergling out here in the middle is going to scout exactly what's going on. So he knows for sure what he is up against. This is one of the most standard strategies versus Zerg, is the double factory in the mid build. It is vulnerable to the max ling speed and a very quick lurker swarm, as a lot of your production is super close out on the map. He is going to go right for that queen. I don't see the Hydralisk den though, or a Spire or anything. So just planning on going to Hive right now, investing a lot into pushing these creep colonies up, hoping that he can reach these factories and disrupt the build here for Iamsorry. But Iamsorry going to keep most of his Marines alive, losing 2 there, and these tanks are now going to be out. Needs to get his science facility going. He does. The engineering bay, one engineering bay going to be helped here to scout, and the other one is going to be in here to scout what is going on. Looks like he's actually going to go right into Guardians perhaps here. The Hive is starting and the Spire has just been thrown down. So it looks like he's going to try to go for super quick Guardians. Going to skip the Lurkers completely here. And yeah, really try to get these Guardians out. Again, that is going to be scouted though by our eBay. So our Terran is going to have the opportunity to get Valkyries. Whoa, oh no, never mind. I thought that SCV got picked off here. ManDinGo really going to have to focus a lot on making sure that these tanks that are just going to continue to pile up, and these he's going to need something soon here. The Guardians may or may not be out in time. I feel like I don't know. It's gonna be close here. He must have this timed out though, because since he knew exactly what was going on, he must know that these guardians will be out of time. But what does he do if it's scouted? That's engineering bang unknowingly on top of those minerals, making it a little bit more difficult to get your drones to mine again. They are equal on worker count here, so either the Terran is slacking a little bit, or the Zerg is just doing a great job building drones here. He hasn't had to build any units. I guess he's only been building units. That is one of the benefits of skipping the lurkers here. Gonna get these spores out to prevent that engineering bay from getting too much in there. Also going to deter that vessel a little bit. The Greater Spire is being built now, and the first couple mutants are out here. So we don't see too much of an... Okay, we do see the double starport now, and the armory. So yeah, he is going to go for the Valkyrie counter to the Guardians, and I think that's going to be a pretty good idea here. Keeping all of his Marines and tanks alive, being confident in his push and pushing forward. Dingo doing a pretty good job continuing to build Sunkens, but I think he's gonna need a couple more hatcheries now. Tanks sieging up yet again. He wants to just keep everything alive. He knows that his army will beat this army in a straight up battle. That Greater Spire slowly ticking away here. It is going to be pretty close here. The control towers are being built here on top of those starports, so Valkyries will be coming out shortly here. A couple of turrets just in case those mutants do want to do some counterattack and take out some of those SCVs before the Greater Spire completes, but Greater Spire is super close to being done, and he is going to be able to afford 8 Guardians, and 8 Guardians could very well take out this few amount of Marines. Just a matter of if these tanks are going to go around and take out some of these drones before the Guardians complete. Guardians may not have the DPS to take out the tanks if they do target those minerals right away. So it is okay. He's going to continue to push forward here and take out these sunken colonies. So it looks like these Guardians are in fact going to be out of time. These 840 Guardians are going to be out here, and now he is going to have to deal with them. The Valkyries are nearly completed though, and he is going to have to get some Scourges. He is getting some Scourges now, so that is good. Going to be able to, he's going to have to use them to counter those Valkyries. He is doing a good job pulling back those tanks. It's always now a question up to ManDinGo if he wants to push forward, and that seems what he is going to do. Oh, excuse me. Is going to push forward with these Guardians. These Scourges trying to connect with these, and they actually do take out one of the Valkyries here. It does take 2 Scourges to take out the Valkyries, but these Marines are going to do its best to protect them. So good job from Iamsorry keeping all of his units alive here. Another Valkyrie is going to go down, and also the vessel here. So very nice hits on those Scourges. And ManDinGo is going to be able to start picking away at these production facilities. More starports are being built, and more Valkyries are being pushed out here. The Scourges are going to keep these Valkyrie numbers low, and that's what you have to do, because if the Valkyrie numbers get too high, they're going to be able to destroy these Scourge before they can even get close enough to suicide bomb themselves into it. Only a single Scourge there. He must have lost his brother in somewhere. Valkyrie's going to get some pot shots off here. A couple of mutants is going to be here to help take out that injured Valkyrie. And we have ourselves a pretty good game here. Dingo, not a slouchy Zerg, that is for sure. It's unfortunate that he's gotten Zerg every single time, though. The vessel over here wanting to sneak in here, but is going to get picked off again by those Scourges. So these Scourge hits have been life-saving for Dingo. But Iamsorry has kept all of his tanks alive, and it's going to be hard to do this tank Valkyrie. He likes to do that, the OP air units and the OP ground units together. This is like the Corsair Valkyrie Siege, or Corsair Reaver Valkyrie and Siege Tank combo. Pretty powerful. ManDinGo, I do like the idea of going Guardian Devourers. I think that is the actually, I don't think that's the best. I think Lurker Swarm is the best in this matchup, and that is what he is going for. Now you can see that Consume going down. He does have Lurkers nearly upgraded, but for right now, they are holding their own. The Scourge Devourers and Guardians, again, are going to be able to clean this up. Only 4 Guardians, but that's more than enough to fight tanks that cannot shoot up in the air. But a lot of starports being thrown down. Again, only 2 factories here. So he really does need to keep these tanks alive, as he just will not be able to reproduce them very quickly at all. The Zerg trying to slowly establish himself here. He does have the defilers out here, and he is producing some lurkers. Is getting that. Does he have 2? No, he only has 1. So he is getting the Numenatized Carapace Factory Overlord movement upgrade going to have. I think his plan is going to be eventually to try to drop some lurker and defiler onto the blue maim. That can be absolutely devastating. You're not usually expecting it, but he only has a single hive here, no layer anywhere else, so that upgrade is going to take a long time to complete, and he is going to have to hold on until then. Once this Valkyrie vessel number gets too high, it is just going to be able to dismantle. Here is the first swarm going to be coming down here shortly. I think we're about to see it right now, and the Zerg may just be able to hold on to his choke. I want to see an unsiege here and a runaway. He is going to unsiege and try to run away. He does need to keep these tanks alive, as his factory number is very, very low. The Zerg doing a great job staying alive here. Got up to 100 supply, 51 drones. So he is getting himself in a pretty good position here. A nice snipe up on that defiler here. Going to try to get one more swarm off before he does die a brutal death, and going to have to rebuild that defiler. No defilers right now, so if the swarm does go down, he is going to be able to pick those lurkers off. They are going to be unprotected. Going to really have to rely on keeping these defilers alive. He is rebuilding another defiler right now. They do take up a lot of gas. Ugh. And we are going to see the first attack on the minerals here. Let's see if Dingo did get that burrow upgrade. If not, it is going to be trouble. We do see the defensive matrix on top of the defiler, and we do see the ERAD. Okay, he does have burrow. That's an absolutely important upgrade. You can just GG yourself if you forget to upgrade it at all at one point. Not going to be the case here, but he did not swarm in time, so there are no lurkers here. He's going to have to wait for these lurkers. This could be the opportunity for the Terran to move forward and spread himself out a little bit. So it's going to take a little bit longer for the Zerg to just not hold one single base here. Slowly moving forward, but again, he just doesn't quite have the factories to build a crazy amount of tanks too quickly. The Spore is doing a good job pushing back these vessels. The Guardian Devourer is going to move forward. Not the craziest amount of Valkyries. He did lose quite a bit on that mineral attack that he did attempt to do. No swarms down. Another swarm about to be thrown down, though. From that flash, okay, one swarm did get taken out. That was close. That almost got picked off in time. 2 lurkers, it looks like, did get burrowed. Looks like the vessels are going to ERAD them to try to take care of that. One vessel going to go forward and ERAD. A lot of defilers now being made, slowly taking over the whole middle. There we go, a lot more factories now. So this Terran now has basically enough production to do what he needs to do. Needs to continue the upgrades. Okay, we do have the armories going down now. Does want to get those upgrades down, because the more upgrades you can get ahead of your opponent, just the more powerful your units are, the deadlier everything comes. Getting lots of turrets around here. Does not want to get dropped without knowing at the very minimum. He knows that that's a very good possibility. We do see the transportation of the Overlord being built now, nice and slowly. Is going to try to go for that lurker drop. A lot of scourges going in there, to take out some of those vessels. These lurkers are slowly getting whittled down with the amount of vessels that he does have. But we do see another push forward from ManDinGo, going to try to just continue to push back this Terran army and keep him away from his choke. Overlords are getting massacred. Zerglings and Defilers, these are cracklings, going to take out these factories at the middle quite easily and potentially cause some harm here. These vessels are going to target all of these defilers, as he just does not want the Zerg player to get some of these swarms out too close to his base. One Defiler does live and is going to be able to set up shop right outside of the Terran's main, but I don't think he's going to let too many more Defilers get over here. Just lost 4 or 5 Defilers. The Zergling's doing a good job taking out all those units at the front, but smartly he did build a bunch of factories back at home as well, so not going to be too big of an issue for him. Hydra's going to come out here to try to help transport these Defilers over here, not just let these vessels go ham all over them. And no significant damage is being done yet. One starport looks like it may be taken down. There just isn't enough lurkers that survive that attack, and the Terran is going to be able to hold on no problem. Going to start rebuilding some of those lurkers and Defilers to go for a second round. He potentially smells some blood here as he is getting close, and once you kind of take over the the Terran choke, you can really push in and do some mad damage here. But the Terran isn't going to let that happen. Going to push out of his base ASAP and siege up to make sure that these lurkers don't get too close. But again, they are going to get a nice position here on this Terran army and take out a lot of siege tanks here. These vessels must... Oh no, they definitely do have enough energy to get rid of these Defilers. But not going to do... There we go. We do see it go down now. One more Defiler left. Doesn't have the energy. Wants to take that out before it can start getting consumed. A couple of Zerglings trying to run into this base here. Iamsorry continuing to build siege tanks and vessels. Zerglings coming in, just trying to push these tanks back. Doing a pretty good job versus these tanks. Cracklings are pretty good. The lurkers are going to push up here onto these starports. Another Defiler going to go down, but is going to get a swarm up just in time. Nice counter pressure here by Iamsorry. Does need to get some work done. Going to actually supply cap the Zerg player as well. Valkyrie is doing a good job taking out these overlords here. Saving up for another push here. I don't know why he doesn't go in while this swarm still exists here. A lot of siege tanks are sieged up in here. And the Zerg player continuing to push forward. Going to try to get to that main area here, but there is a nice little wall here. Going to get repaired here, but a couple of them are going to drop. Zerglings take out buildings so quickly. Another swarm getting thrown down by that Defiler before she dies here. Firebat and tanks going to clear that up as well. Continuing to pressure the Zerg economy here. The Zerg economy is starting to get a little bit hurt here. A lot of AFK drones here not doing anything, just spreading themselves out so they don't die too much here. Nice little burrow there. And yeah, that counter pressure is going to be survived by our Terran player. Going to send some Zerglings up here to clear the way for a potential drop if he so chooses to do it. His upgrade is ready to go now, so if he can get a Lurker Swarm drop in there, it could be devastating to our Terran player. More drones falling and having to be burrowed, which is slowing down the economy of our Zerg player here. Just not what he wants. A couple of Scourgies going to go in here and not be the most cost efficient hits there, as they do like to do a little doodle daw before they go in there, and 25 Scourge will go into one vessel even though only 2 need to. Lurker's continuing to push back this Terran army. He's doing all of this only on like 5, 6, 7. Oh, I guess he has a couple. He has more hatcheries than I thought, but still not the amount you would want. Don't think he's gone over 150 supply yet, and the Terran army is just getting stronger and stronger. Still basically no defense here, so even if he was to just send in like 4 lurkers and like 1 defiler, he could do a crazy amount of damage to our Terran player here. Very vulnerable to drops. It is hard to defend when you build your command centers up top, and you do need quite a bit of turrets to prevent that from the top part, especially versus a Protoss player. And yeah, okay, we still have everything kind of evening out a little bit. I would still say the Terran is obviously ahead by a mile. Does have a better army. I'm just a little worried about the drops. It does have a defiler here. I don't know what is preventing. I'll probably just supply and demand right now for the Zerg player. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. It's annoying. That is for effing sure. A ton of swarms being down here, but soon there's going to be enough vessels to outnumber these lurkers. These scourges continuing to do a great job picking off these vessels, but there is a pretty big number of them, and they are being rebuilt fairly quickly. Do see a couple of tanks coming up here to try to prevent any kind of dropping that the Zerg may be thinking of. Okay, he is loading up. He is loading up his for a drop right now, and it looks like he is going to attempt to go in here. Still at a very low supply though, so if this does fail, he may be out of hope. Bunch of scans just being thrown down there, more defilers being picked off, and now these siege tanks have claimed the choke of the Zerg base. The drop not going in right at the moment. I guess he is more worried about his home base right now. Is going to send that in now, but he has lost control of his base here, and it is going to be tough to deal with all of this. The defense matrix Erad Valkyrie going to come in here, and it is going to take out the drones, as ManDinGo says. GG. And that is going to be the end of the second place in Season 1 ManDinGo. Going to fall 0-3 to Iamsorry. And Iamsorry is going to advance in some very nice builds by him. Going to take out ManDinGo. No slouch of a player. Very well done by Iamsorry. And we are down to one final series. The two Koreans are yet to face off. I read something that Slash can't get a hold of Slash can't get a hold of Thanks, so I don't know what's happening there. I saw a Vulture volunteer to take his place, but nothing has been confirmed, at least before I started this video. We'll throw those brackets up. We almost have we almost have all the second round set and ready to go. Looking forward to it. GG guys. See you next time.